So my family, we grew up hardcore Catholic. I mean, very traditional Catholic. My dad went to Catholic school his whole life. I was in Catholic school. And I got out of Catholic. Actually, I was in public school at the time, and I was still an altar boy.
Okay.
I was an altar boy when I was like 4th grade. And, you know, by the time you're 16 or whatever, you're like, okay, I'm kind of over the altar boy thing, and it's not cool anymore to be an altar boy. And my mom and dad were like, well, you made a commitment, and then they'd hit me. But they'd be like, you made a commitment. And I'm like, yeah, I made a commitment when I was in 4th grade. I'm the last of the Mohicans. I mean, I'm 16 years old. Yeah, I mean, I'm like the last guy my age. The vestments don't even fit me. But anyway, that's not the story. So here's the story. We had to do, as part of being an altar boy around Easter time, you had to do Stations of the Cross. And I don't know if there's anybody that's Catholic, but Stations of the Cross was kind of one of those things where you went around and did the different stations that sort of chronicled, you know, up to the crucifixion and this kind of thing. And our priest was Monsignor, actually, Monsignor Maleko. And so we're doing the stations, and what you did as an altar boy is I happen on this day to be holding the cross, and you go down the pew to the station, you kneel down. One of the altar boys had the incense, I had the cross. Monsignor would say the prayers and those kinds of things. So while I had this deal going with my buddies that we were always trying to one-up each other who could pull the biggest prank on the other guy. And one of the places that you did not screw up was certainly in church in front of Monsignor Maleko. Because as much as I was getting hit at home, in Catholic school you got hit too. If you got hit in school and said, hey, I went home, I got hit at school, Dad would hit you for getting hit in school. I mean, so it was just, you know, I mean, and you're in church and the whole 9 yards. I mean, so this is a really important thing that we're doing. My buddy Jim, he comes just before I was kneeling down in his pew, and he's kneeling there, and before we got up to turn right to go to the next station, Jim had on his hand, he had some, I think it was Ben Gay, you know, that muscle rub stuff that has those fumes or whatever, and he wiped it across my eyes. And I mean, it hurt and stung, and my eyes were like literally swelling up, and the water, you know, was just pouring down my eyes. And of course, I was in a sick, twisted way, kind of trying not to laugh a little bit because I knew he got me. So I'm kind of trying to stifle it as my eyes, and I didn't want Monsignor to know that we're messing around in church. I mean, I got this deal with my folks. You're going to get kicked out of the house and beat. So, you know, keep it together. And as we go on and on and on, it finally the tears or whatever just kind of cleared it out, and I was okay by the end. So I'm walking home at night. And I had to walk home. We lived in town. And I'm walking down, and it was darker. It was a little darker out. And I'm coming up the driveway, and you know how you can see in a house, you know, as you walk up, you can see in the living room. There's Monsignor and Sister Mary Bartholomew, who was the principal of the school, talking to my mom and dad. I'm going, I'm hit. I'm going to be dead. Because they're in there, that's how mad they are. They beat me home so that they could tell Monsignor, or so they could tell my mom and dad that I was messing around in church. And I'm thinking, the blood drains from my body, my heart's in my throat, you know. Like, oh my God, I'm gonna get kicked out of the house, I'm gonna get beat. And so I thought, well, I'll wait him out. I'm kind of waiting around outside, it's getting darker. And I saw my mom through the window coming out with coffee, and I'm like, they're going nowhere soon, right? I mean, so I decided I had to man up, and I had to go in there and just take my beat, you know. So the story is about the last day I ever got hit in my life. This is what, okay? So I go into the house, and I'm shaking, right? I know I was messing around in church, and my dad comes up to me, and he comes up to me slowly, and he kind of gets right in my personal bubble a little bit, and I'm like, and he puts his hands on my cheeks, and he gives me a big hug, and he's holding me. And he kind of backs up and he kind of holds my face. He's got tears in his eyes. And I'm like going, what's going on? And he hugs me again, and my mom comes up and hugs me, and Sister Mary and Monsignor Maleko stand up, and I'm like, totally, this is not how my life goes. What's going? What it was, they didn't realize I was messing around in church. They thought I was crying through the Stations of the Cross. And the priest and Sister Mary came over to tell my mom and dad that they knew that my life had turned around because I was touched by the Holy Spirit in church. They were there to tell my mom and dad that I needed to consider the priesthood as a vocation because I was so touched by God, because, you know, the sacraments meant so much to me. And so my mom and dad, they've got Sister Mary, the principal, Monsignor Maleko saying your boy's going to be a priest. I never got hit again.